Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu
Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavaditamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.
Once this possibility of solving this seeming problem, this as though problem, it is as though problem because it is a problem which is resolved in the wake of knowledge of what this self is. That means there is no problem. So there is no problem. The self is free. Free from the very thing the self wants to be free. The self is mistaken to be a limited, wanting being, and then wants itself to be free. So this mistaken, the self alone is a samsari. It's an Adi story, it's a long story of the self. There is a biography which has no beginning. Anyway, in the wake of knowledge of the self, the problem centered on the self is solved if I say, what do I say? What do I say? What does it mean? In the wake of the knowledge of the self, the problem of the self is not there. Means what? We must first to know what is knowledge. What is knowledge? Knowledge is as true as the object of knowledge. We must have some of these definitions in our head, under our mental belt, okay? So, some of these simple things. Knowledge is as true as the object of knowledge is. Do you have any doubt about this? This is what knowledge is. If this is a flower, it's a flower. As true as the object. Anything other than the object, if you say knowledge, in India it is difficult to pass. Understand? You have to cross the Himalayas and go somewhere. Understand? Go north. I'm talking in this field, we are very thorough. We mean business here. When we say something, we mean it. We say in order to mean, understand, also. So there is no just saying something. When we say knowledge means vastu tantram. It is not purusha tantram. It is not centered on your will, on your thinking, and your thought. So I think this is what? Mango. You can think anything. You are free to think. But this is a flower. So this is jnanam, as true as the vastu tantram, not purusha tantram. Understand? It's not dependent on your thought. It is as good as the object. If your thought and the object are one and the same, it is called knowledge. If the object is one and what you think is another, then that is not knowledge. That is called error. Understand? That is what error. So this correcting the error is inquiry. Correcting the error is what we call viveka, discriminative inquiry. There are reasons for that kind of name, discriminative inquiry, viveka. It is a viveka, it's vichara, because it's all mixed up. Certain things are mixed up. And therefore, if knowledge is as true as the object is, jnanena, atma jnanena, suppose there is freedom, moksha. Atma jnanena moksha. That means what? Atma must be already free from what I want to be free from. Correct? By knowing I am free means what I know, knowing the self. That means what? The self is already free and I know. Correct? One fellow was a pauper. And this fellow was a pauper. And somebody was telling him, you are a prince, you are a prince, you are a prince. And the fellow began believing this. I'm a prince, I'm a prince, I'm a prince. You know. He doesn't become a prince. Previously, he was a sane pauper. Understand? Now he is what? Insane pauper. That's all. There is no difference. He was a sane pauper. He has become an insane pauper. There is no improvement. Pauper. It is better to be a pauper and sane, but not an insane pauper. This is how some people become, this somebody, suppose you tell me, this is not a happy thing to talk, but still, it's a nice thing to talk. Look, somebody comes and tells you, yesterday God came to me and talked to me in the night, in my dream. What will you think? What will you think? And he says, every day he comes. He talks to me. Now, when I ask him, what did he say? What did he say? And then he says, this is what he said. When I read this, I find either God must be crazy or, understand? In fact, if somebody tells you that God speaks to me, you would be really alarmed and you would feel so really sad because such a good person. should get should become a victim of God. This is you really become serious. You feel sad about this person. You have to, if you really care for the person, you should take him to a specialist. In those days, specialists were not there. Therefore, they became what? I don't know. I don't know. You can talk. You can become anything. I don't know. I don't know. Because if God were to speak to me, He need not used to come to me in dreams. Why is He afraid of facing me during the waking hours or what? He can face me when I am awake. Why He is so threatened by me? I told you once, God came to me also in dream. And you know what did He say? Don't tell anybody. You know what He said? I don't come in dreams. So this is what He said. Jnanam Vastu Tantram. That is why 1 plus 1 is 2, even in Arab countries. Because I saw them buying camels, The 2 means they say this is 1 plus 1, 2. They don't say it's 4. 1 plus 1, it's 2 for everybody. It is common to all. It has no national stamp. Knowledge doesn't belong to any country or any group of people. Knowledge is centered on its object, correct? Wherever there is a head to know, and there is a fact, a means of knowledge adequate is there, knowledge will take place. There is no way of avoiding it. Jnanasya lakshanam idam. It is always vastu tantram. Abaditam. Once you say it is knowledge, it is not going to be negated. Jnanam abaditam. And it is vastu tantram. It is centered on the object. It's not centered on your opinion, on your head, on your will. Therefore, when I say in the wake of knowledge of the self, one is free. That means what? The self that is one, the self, is already free. By knowing it, I am free. Not knowing it, I am bound. Not knowing it, I am bound, I can't say. Because not knowing it, I don't feel bound also. Very nice. In sleep, I don't feel bound. I don't feel any small. I don't feel insignificant. I don't feel I am a samsari, I don't feel anything. When I have sound sleep, I have already defined to you what is sound sleep. Sound sleep means when you sleep, the sound that you make, the sound that you make doesn't allow others to sleep. This is called sound sleep. So it's called sound sleep. Only recently I found out the definition. Why they were telling sound sleep, sound sleep? Now I know what the sound sleep is. Ithanala puriyavilla. That's sound sleep. Anyway, so this in sound sleep, you have no problem. You don't have any problem. So, and you also don't know anything about the self or anybody. Anything else. Neither you know the world nor you know about yourself. And achai. So, I can't say sheer ignorance is going to be the real problem. Ignorance itself is not a problem. Ignorance is bliss, they say. It's a sleep bliss. Ignorance is bliss when it is total. I don't know, and I don't know that I don't know. बहुत आनंद है. तो इसमें इतना आनंद है. I don't know, and I don't know I don't know. No problem, because I don't have the pressure to know, because I don't know that I don't know. Therefore, where is the pressure? But the problem is, this ignorance is not total. If it is total, it is bliss. And it is total in sleep, temporarily. And that's why sleep is such an inviting experience. Nobody has got any problem with sleep. Nobody tells that I've been sleeping every day, what shall I do? One loves to sleep. One sleeps. Only thing is, you cannot sleep in conferences, etc., unless you are a Prime Minister of India. And especially Gouda. You be a Deva Gouda. That's the privilege of a Prime Minister. There's one place where we don't want people to sleep like that, but then, especially with the TV cameras, yeah. And they show this all the time. Really. I always thought the government is sleeping. But this, I never thought the Prime Minister also sleeps like that, right in the... You have seen that, I'm sure. Embrace. So sleep itself is not a complaint, unless you are in these wrong situations. But sleep is not a complaint. Why? Because Ananda. No problem. The problem is when I wake up, and then is a problem. When I wake up, as an entity, as an individual, I have a notion about myself. And that notion for me is real. And in that notion there are many components. Every one of them is wanting. And the central person also is wanting. The central person is mortal. An individual different from everything else. That is some I. And that's wanting. And this is any feature in terms of knowledge or power or any perception or money or anything you see, it's always wanting. The limit. So this is wrong, I say. Not that body is limitless. I never said body is limitless. Body need not be the attribute of the self. It can be an incidental attribute of the self. That means I can understand the self without this incidental attribute. In fact, that is understanding of clay. That is understanding of clay. The incidental attribute of partness should not be imposed upon the clay in my clay understanding. Correct? When I understand clay, I must take it only as clay, excluding the attribute of partness. Then wherever there is clay, understand, then I will recognize clay. Understand? Need not be pot. This is not an ordinary fellow, I tell you. Yeah, he's a special fellow from Tanjore. He has travelled and is sitting here without a job satisfaction for a long time. Therefore, let me give him a chance, okay? So, he's a showman, okay? It's very clear, he's dressed up all clean. So, it's all for show. Understand? I don't know whether you see it properly. So, see, you see? This kind of, I think this demonstration is important, especially after, all this episode of Lucent and all that. So this is a very, very important thing to know, because this is a never say die guy. Suppose I push him down like this. Do you see what does he do? He knocks around a little bit, but then he's up again. Look at this one. See, he has to knock around. Hota hota hai. Again he's up. Understand? So, you lost the job. ठीक है? Correct? It's not a big deal. You always come back. See the capacity. But this is also clay. Understand? This is solid clay. This is also clay. Therefore, in this clay, in your clay understanding, partness is not included. This also is not included. What is this? The showman. This fellow, this dullness also is not included. Correct? In your understanding of the self, that this individuality is not included. Even though the individuality is the self, there is no question. The individuality is the self. The self is not this so-called ego. If that is so, wonderful. It's a great thing. I tell you, it's wonderful. You do not know what it is. No. The sharak illega. So the styrofoam cup no. Styrofoam no. So this is the truth here. Understand the significance of the statement in the wake of the knowledge of the self. The self is free. Jnanena mokshaha. Atma jnanena mokshaha. So this jnanena mokshaha is not an ordinary sentence. By knowledge you are free. Means what? The self is already free. Why? Because knowledge is always as true as the object. If the self is already free, free from what? Free from what I want to be free from. That's all the free. Understand? What do you want to be free from? And from that, what do you want to be free from? Free from being small. Free from being ignorant. This is okay. This cup is not there, this is also okay. No. All the same. Okay, all right. Having one or two is better. Look at this one. Okay. This is a cup. This cup has a human mind. It's important to have a human mind. Why? Then only all the problems will. So what is the use of giving an example without a human mind? It will be unlike example. It won't be like example. So we have to make it a like example. To make it like, you make this cup as a human, with a human mind. Human mind means what? Self-conscious. I'm a cup. Shyness. So thought shyness. Some shyness will be there. And problems. What are the problems? Swamiji, this is cup talking. I really loathe myself. There is nobody suffers a meaningless life like I suffer. Why? What's my life? What job satisfaction I have? People just use me and then throw away. I'm a throwaway cup. They call me disposable. Understand? And these Americans are, sometimes they don't even look at me and then, like this. I'm not used at all. At least if I were in India, they would wash me and keep me another keep mummies would do that. Here, just throw away. One sip, gone. What a life. And I am thrown away. And I am so fragile. Anybody touches me, I break. Full of fractures. I am easily destroyed. I'm a martyr. Then I told this cup, you are not a cup. Then who am I? You are styrofoam. Immortal styrofoam. Bio non-degradable. After a million years, you will be still styrofoam. Let them throw away anywhere, you will remain styrofoam. Correct? Immortal, styrofoam. You're not a cup. But I'm a cup. Yeah, you're a cup. This is the... you're a cup is Vedanta, understand? That is where Vedanta comes. You accept. I accept it as a cup. Even though I search for the cup, there is no cup anywhere. There is only styrofoam. But still cup is called cup. Some nama. for certain rupa. This is also cup, this is also cup. Okay? It is all rupa. No substance. Substance is something else, that is styrofoam. Understand? And therefore, in your understanding of styrofoam, the mortal cupness is not involved. Correct? The mortal cup is not involved. The cup is mortal. The truth of the cup is immortal. Look at this. So, in the non-mortal, which is immortal, styrofoam, a mortal cup is superimposed. Understand? You understand this? Nahi jnanena sadrishyam. There is nothing equal to knowing my God. There is nothing equal. If this styrofoam cup understands that I am styrofoam, it doesn't care anymore. This mortality, etc., is not a problem. And therefore, here, the question now is, all right, enough, jnanena moksha, by knowledge moksha. There is enough prima facie. You know, the basis is there. Experience of happiness, experience of absence of this ego, the nature of the ego being a composite, there is no real ego. Varieties of reasons are there to prove that this whole thing can be, the whole problem is due to error, due to mistake, not merely ignorance. Ignorance born error, that is the problem, and therefore solution is correcting the error. Means knowing the self as it is. How to know the self? We ask this question. By asking who am I cannot find the answer because I am the one who is ignorant asking the question, I am the one who is to answer. Unless the self can answer because of my bugging. Go on asking, who am I, who am I, who am I, who am I, who am I? I go on asking the I. Then the I answers, whom? I answer me. This I, me and all that, it is all one, understand? There is no I, me. I answering me. Unless, see, there is such a thing. So I answering me, I can be the subject, I can be the object also. Suppose you scratch, okay? You scratch. Who is the subject? Scratcher. What is the object? Scratched. Correct? Who is the scratcher? I am the scratcher. Who is scratched? Huh? I am scratched. ये क्या बात है? Therefore, you can be the scratcher as well as scratched. Correct? Both subject and object. If you are limbed, understand? If you are limbed. If you are niravayava, if there is no avayava, there is no subject-object situation. It's not possible. If the self asking a question, I am ignorant, it cannot answer itself. And the only way is to find out another means of knowing. Means a means of knowing, not another means of, a means of knowing. So what is the means of knowledge? I said you can ask another person who knows. Even how does that person come to know? Therefore, what is the means of knowledge is a better question. What is the means of knowledge? Understand here. This is very critical also for us. The self has to know the self. That means I am ignorant of myself and committed a mistake. The error needs correction and for which I require to know myself. And therefore, I have to use a means of knowledge, employ a means of knowledge. The object determines the appropriateness of the choice of the means of knowledge. Like if you want to see the color of the object, what is the choice you have? Only eyes. You don't have another choice. So you can't put it in your ear and then find out what is the color. So unless you open your eyes and see, there is no question of seeing the color. So the very object the object determines the means of knowledge. When the doctor wants to hear your heartbeat, what does he do? He doesn't bring a microscope. He doesn't bring a microscope. Why? Yeah, it's hearing, it's not seeing. And therefore he brings a stethoscope. Correct? Means he hears you at a magnified sound of your heartbeat. That's what he hears. So he chooses the means of knowing on the basis of what he or she wants to know, correct? The person chooses the means of knowing before, on the basis of what the person wants to know. If we want to see, there is one means. If we want to hear, it is quite another. Understand? It's amazing. Already we seem to know what we want to know, correct? At least we have some idea in what terms I want to know, In terms of visual perception, I want to know. In terms of hearing, I want to know. In terms of smell, I want to know. So like this you decide and then employ your sense organ and instrument also attached to the sense organ. Wonderful. Now, to know the self, which means of knowledge I will employ? Eyes? To see the self? The eye is the one who is seeing through the eyes everything else. This eye I want to know. How will I see? Through the eyes. Eyes themselves cannot see themselves. How they are going to see the subject? No. Eyes cannot see the self. How about ears? The divine sound. The divine sound. You hear the divine sound. They say all this. That sound, the primordial sound comes from inside. If you hear that kind of sound, go to a gastroenterologist. And therefore, this primordial sound, all problems. I am the one who hears all the sounds, okay? Whatever sound is, there is a primordial sound or audial sound, whatever it is, the sound, I am the one who hears all of them. And I want to know who this person. What is this I? Perception is useless. Inference also is in my hands based upon perceptual data. It is useless. That is the reason why, please listen, that is the reason why you cannot stumble upon I. There is no chance meeting. Suddenly I saw. That I accept. Suddenly you saw. You can't say, suddenly I saw myself standing there. Standing there. This is another. This is the beginning point. Understand? So suddenly I saw it's not going to happen. I can't trample upon myself. I cannot be available for that. And therefore I have to choose to know. The initiative has got to be in me. That is why we call this as jignasa. I want to be free, mumuksha. For freedom I must know jignasa. These two things go together. Mumuksha means that is the purushartha moksha. I want to be free from being small. That is moksha that everybody wants. So once you say that is the prime end, all other ends are within that end. Correct? Artha, kama, and everything is within that alone. Moksha is the prime end to be accomplished. If the prime end is moksha, and mokshaya jignasa, moksha by knowledge, and therefore a desire to know should be born, and no stumbling is not going to take place. An accidental knowledge is not possible. You can always wonder of some experience. People say that I had some experience of oneness. I saw myself one with the sun, one with the moon. I saw one night, one evening, one with the moon. No problem. What does it mean? What does it mean? Doubt? Are you still a human being or moon? Or moony? Moony means loony, understand? Hey, Amma, kya baat hai? One with the moon. True. Every time you are happy, you are one with the object. It's not a big deal. You don't require a special experience for that. Every small little experience of happiness is like that. But something special perhaps draws your attention, because small experiences, your ice cream happiness, your music happiness, whatever, you just don't take them into account. They become commonplace. Then you require what? Something uncommon. It is the same commonplace alone. It is something like a modern artist. So he picks up, this is a good modern artist I'm talking. He picks up, this is not one who has made all those things standing in the campuses of colleges, all this. So standing there right in the outside within the campus, on the grounds, you see, lot of things are standing, steel and things like that. What it is, nobody knows. That's called modern art. That's okay. That's a different thing. That is a thing to be understood. Okay? It's a thing to be understood. Art must be understood. You know, without understanding, you can't appreciate art. You know. That's true. How can you appreciate? Because you always try to find meaning. The art is not to find meaning. That is the real art. Why should there be meaning? That's the meaning. Anyway, so there is something there I'm still to know, I'm trying to understand. But this one is very wonderful. This fellow is very good. What he does, he picks up some twigs from the bushes, and he goes and picks up some of them and cuts them and gives them a background. And cuts here and there and makes it nice and then puts it there. Commonplace. But it strikes you on the wall and it's, oh, wow, beautiful. This is what is under your feet every day. Understand? But this is something, wow. This is what they call becoming one with the moon. And that's an uncommon experience. It's exactly like this. Moon is common, you are common. You are a common man at least. Well, so with a common sense, and there is one moon and it become one and you feel good and it is nice. Afterwards what? Enlightened. Swamiji, that oneness, that was really striking. Is it the same what you are talking? Then I said, I said the same. It's the same. That's what I thought. How come I don't have it again? Now I try, I look at the moon, it doesn't happen. The moon is moon, I am what I am. I don't become moony at all. So why? That is because you don't require to become one with the moon to be moony, understand? So there is no necessity for it. What I say, these are all very of deep significance, I tell you, means these experiences, however inspiring, captivating they are, they need to be interpreted. To be knowledge, to be assimilated knowledge, then it is you. Knowledge and yourself are one and the same here. And it is not knowledge. So for want of experiences, we are not ignorant. We are ignorant in spite of experiences. There is oneness even when you see duality. If that oneness is the truth, it cannot go. Time cannot take it away. A state cannot take it away. If there is such a oneness which is centered on yourself, and if the self is free from any form of limitation, then it needs to be the whole, the limitless, and that cannot be taken away from the self at any time when you are awake or dreaming or any time. It is always the same. So that means you have to know. In other words, any experience is to be understood. Experience is dumb. It provides a basis for you to know. We are supposed to know from experience. Understand? And therefore you can't tell me, Swamiji, I know, but how to experience this oneness? I want to experience this oneness. We are talking something different here. We are talking of our experiences. your experience of me now, right now, this particular subject-object situation is one. And this subject-object duality is what I said is mithya, as though. That itself is an attribute superimposed upon that one. Because there is no duality. If both are one, it is the whole experience, the unit experience of subject-object is the ness of the self, is the attribute of the self. An attribute that is not intrinsic to the self, and therefore it is mithya, like the potness to the clay. Understand? So that means there is a long way to go. So if this is clear, then how am I going to stumble? There is no stumbling upon this. Because already it is you. So you have to choose. When you choose to know, then what means of knowledge? Perception is useless. Inference is useless. Perception, inference is okay to retaining the subject to know the objects. Correct? Retaining the subject to know the objects is okay. Both the subject and object are one and the same. For this, it is not enough. Not enough, it is not appropriate. It's not meant for it. You can't say my eyes are inadequate to hear the sound. Hey, they are inappropriate, okay? They are not inadequate. And they are inappropriate. Then what is the means of knowledge? I have to know in order to be free. And in order to know, I need to have a means of knowledge. And I know these means of knowledge given to me are not the ones that I can employ. Then which is the means of knowledge I can employ? I cannot operate anymore. These are the ones I can operate. My perception, my inference, what I can operate. Understand? I cannot operate. Perhaps I can read a book. Correct? I can read a book. Words. Words means from outside they are. Words are not sound. Understand? We require the ears to hear the words, but words are not sound. And the words also form a means of knowledge. These are the words of what we say, the Shabda Pramana. The words as a means of knowledge, special set of words belonging to the Veda are looked upon as a means of knowledge. Independent means of knowledge for things like this. So that which is not available for my knowing and that which has to be known, for which alone the Veda is a means of knowledge as it is looked upon. When I say it is looked upon as a means of knowledge, then there is no question of, I don't say Veda is a means of knowledge and all that. I don't do this kind of thing. Veda is looked upon as a means of knowledge. Therefore, you have to use it only as a means of knowledge. And to prove a means of knowledge, you have to employ the means of knowledge and see whether it works or not. You cannot prove a means of knowledge by another means of knowledge. You cannot use your eyes to prove my ears are hearing or not. You have to use the ears to see whether the ears hear. You have to use the eyes to see whether the eyes see. That is why the ophthalmologist, even in America, asked me, "Do you see?" I thought the American ophthalmologist won't ask me. Because I always thought the Indians only ask, there in India, they don't have all these machines and all that. They ask me, it becomes subjective. I go on telling, yes, I see, I don't see. And now how do you see? Now I see better. Now, I think the previous word better. Now, this is better. Better than what? Better than this one or the previous one? I always have a doubt after having said it is better. And he said, okay, and then gave me the glasses. So I come home feeling that I think, okay, I see the elephants, I see the camels. Okay. Always come home with a sense of dissatisfaction that it's not exactly. Not much different from the pears that you pick up from the wayside, on the road. And that fellow is sitting there with hundreds of pears. You pick up and then you try and then whichever is good you take, And you read all old Marathi paper in Bombay. Really? The Bombayites know this very well. They have seen this. Not much different. Then I thought in America I'm going to solve this problem of subjectivity. I will get exactly what my eyes need. And I was impressed because the machine is big. No more the empty frame on my this eyes, and then I have to, he goes on putting this and Except nikal diya. So then asked me to see through this. One big machine is there and through the eyes. I thought, so clean, I'm going to get proper glasses. Then he asked me, how do you see now? Ye kya baat hai? So for these $100 extra, again responsibility हमारा पास आ गया. So ये क्या बात है? So the responsibility comes to me. So I am responsible for the choice. That fellow is not responsible at all. I have to say yes, no, yes, better, all. You understand? What does it mean? To prove a means of knowledge is to employ the means of knowledge and see for yourself. Correct? Literally see for yourself. It's exactly the same. That's why I said we look upon it as a means of knowledge. You like it or not. You cannot dismiss it that it is not a means of knowledge because you don't have any power to dismiss. You don't have logic to dismiss. Unless you just some funny fellow coming from beyond the Himalayas. I have to keep selling this for some time. So, just to remind people. And therefore you need to have a basis to dismiss anything. I say it's a means of knowledge. And I say you are already there to know. So you are there to know means this about yourself. Knowledge is possible. And this is a means of knowledge for that. What are you going to do? You can't dismiss it because you have no basis to dismiss. And the only way to dismiss it is to see, is to use it, and then say, it doesn't say what is true. Means what? I am small one. After using it also you find what? You are small, insignificant, useless only. I am useless. I tried that also. Vedanta also I tried. They said it makes me see big, whole and all that. Nothing. I say, until you understand what does Vedanta say that you are the whole, you have to use it, okay? You have to use it. And if the words, because if you see the words, you will get the meaning of already what you know. You will say exactly the meaning. You will read only the meaning like that. One fellow read, God is nowhere. Because already he has decided God is nowhere. Another fellow came and saw this. What a nice sentence here. God is now here. Same thing. Your own mindset. So your own mindset determines how you are going to read. Same words. And so, you require a teacher. Understand? That's why a teacher. So that he sets your vision properly. He knows the sampradaya. He knows how these words need to be handled. And because words have got their own limitations, one should know. And the teacher is supposed to know. And a person who knows this sampradaya. And then how did that person know? Because from his or her teacher. How does that person know? From his or her teacher. Who is the first teacher? First teacher is first father. Who is your first father? Monkey? Monkey was the teacher. Monkey was the teacher. If you say first father is the Lord, then Lord is the teacher. Right? This is Vedanta. What choice you have got? Understand? The more you come to know, choices go away. You know. Then the choices remain only in salad dressing and so and the type of tea bags you choose. Okay. So in this alone you have got some choices. Afterwards there is no choice at all. It's like American houses. On the right is the switch. Everything is the same. Only the shower knobs are a little different. One you push like this, other you push like this, and one you pull out like this. This is how, except these choices, I don't find any choice. Everywhere it is the same. All automatic. Everything is the same. So it looks like that. The more you come to know about these things, you find there is not much choice. You have to know, and you have to know precisely as the object is. What choice is there? And knowing is freedom. What choice is there? Is there any other way of getting freedom? That's all silly. If I am already free, I need to know. And there are many ways of knowing. No. There is only one way of knowing. So, employing a means of knowledge. There is no other way of knowing. And there are many means of knowledge. True, it all depends upon what is the object. If you want to see a color, there is only one way of seeing the color, knowing the color. If you want to hear, there is only one way of hearing. If you want to taste, there is only one way of tasting. If you want to smell, there is only one sense of smell. Correct? And if you want to know the self, this is a teaching. Is it to be in Sanskrit always? It can be in any language. It's only always from India only. Hey, why should it be from India? It can be from anywhere. But the teaching must be proper. And it should be, if the person says you are the whole and make you see the whole, then that is called Vedanta. Why it's not available everywhere? That's not the point, Why it's not available everywhere means, why Bay of Bengal only in India? Why to ask means what? What is it? Ye kya baat hai? How come Cape Comorin is only in India? You can have here also one. Some cape, you can call it Cape Cat, something is there. You call it Cape Comorin, why not? Ye kya baat hai? Why Grand Canyon only here? Why Niagara is only here? Understand? Why Brigadishwara temple only in India? Why not elsewhere? Why Vedanta is only in India? Because that is the speciality there, okay? That is the speciality. You want huge tomatoes, come to America, okay? Okay. Om Purnamada Purnamada Purnat Purnamachare